Intro.
Relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. While I take totes, relax and take notes. While I take totes of the marijuana smoke, relax and take notes. While I take totes, relax and take notes. While I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. While I take totes, relax and take notes. While I take totes of the marijuana smoke, relax and take notes. While I take totes, relax and take notes. While I take totes of the marijuana smoke.
Hey, welcome to Fkk Fantasy Football on Thursday night. Got my man Jason with me today. We're missing Troy, we're missing Taz, but we're going to jump into it. We're going to jump into it today. You know, we wasn't here last week. Sorry about that, but we're here today. We're going to talk about football, fantasy football. This week is Fantasy Football Championship, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to help you so that way you can win that championship, because I know this is a critical week for everybody, and we have a lot of big players that's going to be out. Tonight, Derrick Henry's not playing, so if you got him in your lineup, make sure you switch that out because he's not playing tonight. It seems like the whole Tennessee team, they're putting everybody on ice this week because they're trying to come back next week and go for the division game against Jacksonville because that's going to decide who wins that division. So that's just a precursor. So, Jason, we're going to go right into it tonight. We have the Dallas Cowboys going to Tennessee. I already gave you the blueprint that Tennessee is sitting a lot of people. They're starting Josh Dobbs, who just got picked up off the waiver wire, and they just picked him up. He's been in the franchise for 5 days.
Wow.
And I don't know what's the point of Tennessee even shooting up for this game because you're sitting everybody. If you don't have Derrick Henry, you don't have a chance.
True.
And I know you didn't want to play Malik Willis because he's looked like a fish out of water because he's not ready.
True.
But I'm going to send it to you first. You give me your prediction. You give me your thought process on this game.
Okay, coming off the back, Dallas was already probably a 13, 14-point favorite. I didn't even know about the Derrick Henry news until you broke it. One thing I do know with Dallas, though, is they are without Pollard tonight. He's not going to play because of his, I think it's a quad injury. But with Dallas offense, the way they've been rolling, especially this last week, and now seeing that Tennessee is barely playing anybody, you know, a 14-point favorite, man, they may even cover that, to be honest with you. So I don't see Dallas having any trouble tonight. Obviously, I'm picking them to win tonight big. I'm thinking 35-10.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm lucky they can put 10 on the board, if you ask me.
I like that. I mean, you have Joshua Dobbs that, if you can remember, he used to be with the Steelers, and he never got an opportunity to start at the Steelers. This will be his first start.
Okay.
And with a wounded Tennessee squad, I don't think they really have a chance.
No.
I'm going to get into the fantasy statistics before I even get into the game statistics. So from a fantasy standpoint, I don't want to say it, but Dak Prescott has been playing great football.
He sure has.
And CeeDee Lamb, they moved him to the slot, which is the best thing they could have done. Because when he was out on the X, he wasn't getting open. You see, putting him in the slot, he gets to play against lesser corners, and he's able to get open because that's how he was getting open when actually Amari Cooper was there. He was playing the slot when he first got into the league. So that was a smart move to put him in the slot, and they've been scoring bunches. Dak Prescott is still turning the ball over, but from a fantasy standpoint, you start CeeDee Lamb, you start Zeke because Pollard's not playing in this game, so Zeke is going to get all the carries, and you start Schultz. And you start the Cowboys defense because I think the Cowboys defense is going to come up big because Tennessee is going out there with a B squad. And so they'll get turnovers and put their team in an advantageous position for Cowboys to run away with this. I got the same score that you have, 35, maybe 35-13. I give them an extra 3 points.
That sounds
and
good.
I think they're going to run away with it. I think the Cowboys will have their starter sitting in the fourth quarter, and it's just to be a walk-off, and they're looking just to come out of the game without any kind of injuries.
Okay. Yeah. That Pollard injury hurt me in my fantasy. I had him, so I had to make some late minute adjustments. Man, that hurt me when I saw that. I was like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So that Pollard is a sneaky situation that he came on about week 5 and just started taking control of that backfield. He's been a godsend for a lot of people that picked him up late.
Yeah, and I think that's around the time I picked him up was when I saw him go off about 1 or 2 games. I was like, you know what? They kind of splitting him and Ezekiel. So, but it seemed like Pollard was getting more of the big plays, the screens, the wheel routes. And I was like, okay, let me run with him for a few weeks. And I just kept him, and he's pulled me all the way through to the playoffs. So, but now that he's out, I just gotta mix it up a little bit. Hopefully I get a little lucky.
So who did you back him up with to help everybody?
Let me see. Who did I? Because I know. Let me log in right quick, my man. Dylan from Green Bay.
Okay. So
last few weeks he's kind of been coming along. I've had him on my bench, so I'm gonna give him a shot this week and see what he's doing. I mean, he's a middle grade running back, But
the key element is Aaron Jones been nicked up a little bit, so that's why he's been getting a lot of
Dylan
a lot of curves,
a lot of action lately. So yeah.
And they're playing against Minnesota, who's a really terrible defense. They've been giving up massive yards and just been able to win these close games. And usually when you're in close games like that, eventually it's going to turn the corner and you're going to start losing those close games.
Definitely.
So I think that's a good pickup. So guys, if you're in a situation and if you're fortunate as Jason was to have Dylan on your bench, that's a guy that you can start. But I'm going to give you some other options if you have Pollard and you don't have that option to have Dylan on your bench. You have guys like Tyler Algier, who's taking over the backfield for the Atlanta Falcons. So if he's available, I would definitely say go get him. And I believe with Taylor going down in Indianapolis, I can't think of the guy's name right now. He used to play for Buffalo, and they traded for him. And he's been taking over the backfield this last week. Oh, Zach Moss. Zach Moss. So Zach Moss is another name that you can actually grab out there on the waiver wire that probably can help you and assist you on your championship journey, because this is the last week of the championship, so you don't have next week to pick yourself up. So as we go, let's get into the next game. So we have the Arizona Cardinals going to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons were in a position to actually take over this division, but they lost some critical games and some calls went the wrong way. So now they're really at a point of trying their young guys. Drake London has really picked up steam lately, but he's also turning the ball over, fumbling a lot in critical situations. But Tyler Algier has been a godsend for them because now you have a running game and you're working on your young core. So they're working on next year. Exactly. From a Cardinal situation, they're in disarray. Kyler Murray went out, torn ACL, so you don't know when he's going to come back next year. So right now, you're in a tough situation if you had DeAndre Hopkins. He got 0 catches last week.
Wow.
So now one of your mainstays who was giving you upwards of 15 to 20 points a week, you got 0 production from him. The one key element, though, is I realized if you have James Conner, definitely start him, because even in the tough matchup last week, he still scored. So if you have James Conner and you're in a situation when you're in the championship, definitely start him. And I'll let you take it, Jason, to say what you feel about the game and what you think the outcome is going to be.
I absolutely agree with all the points you made. With Atlanta, they're technically out of the playoffs now, so they're pretty much playing, for next season to see the young guys step up and everything. Algiers, he has been doing his thing ever since, he's been getting the lead share of the role with splitting it with him and Patterson. Arizona, like you said, they're just a mess right now. They're all over the place. Who is the quarterback for Arizona?
I think it's Shirley. I think he came from Penn State.
Okay, Shirley. Okay.
Yeah. I think he came from Penn State.
Right now, Atlanta is sitting at a 3-point favorite. obviously because they're at home. I feel that's probably going to be around the point spread of the game. Atlanta's probably going to be able to run the way they want, and I can see Atlanta winning about maybe like 20. I'll say 17.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I think it's going to be one of those games where points are going to be at a minimum because we have two teams that are definitely going in the wrong direction. I mean, for Atlanta, they're rebuilding, so maybe they're getting a chance to look at their young guys as a project for the future, which is good for them. Correct. They sat Mariota down and sent him away from the team. I think he was unhappy with that, so he just left the team.
Wow.
So now they're concentrating on their young guys. And from Arizona's standpoint, they're just playing out the year. I don't know what they're going to do from a quarterback position and a lot of their team. And the one of the Watt brothers announced that this is going to be his last year, so he's going to retire. With that being said, as Jason said, Atlanta is a 3-point favorite, and I got them winning like 23-16.
Okay.
I think Atlanta will win that game. And from a fantasy standpoint, you start Drake London, you start Algier, you start James Conner on the other side. As far as the pass catchers for Arizona, I don't have any confidence in McSorley getting the ball to them.
No. So
at that point, hopefully you don't have those guys, because if you do, you're going to struggle this week trying to get to that championship.
Exactly.
The next game we have is the Miami Dolphins going against the New England Patriots. Sad news is Tua had another concussion. I feel very sorry for that guy. He's been injured. This is his second or third concussion this year. He's going to need to think about his health, not football, at this point in time. So they're going to be starting Teddy Bridgewater. You have the Patriots who coming off of two horrible losses. The loss against the Raiders, where they threw it, and then last week, after Cincinnati went up 22-0, they came back. It was 22-18. And I think they got cute. I think they got cute trying to run the ball and trying to run the clock out, opposed to just scoring the ball and allowing their defense to win the game for them, because they held Cincinnati to 0 points in the second half. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled the ball and allowed Cincinnati to get that victory. Ramondre Stevenson has been part of several different plays these last couple of weeks that put them in binds and for them not to win. I don't understand how the offense is going to look with Teddy Bridgewater. He hasn't played in about 6 or 7 weeks, so I don't know what it's going to look like. And this is a pivotal game for both teams. From the Patriots' standpoint, they're 7-8. They're still having an outside chance to get into the playoffs. And the Dolphins, who have lost 4 straight, they're 8-7. So these are games that are really going to dictate who gets in the playoffs. So I'll let you take it, Jason.
Okay. New England currently 3-point favorites at home. I, along with you, the news with Tua just kind of that saddens me. I really hope he shuts it down for the year. If that was my son, I would tell him, listen, football, has been great for you up to this point, but you got to start thinking about your health at some time. And I've never heard of a quarterback getting 3 concussions in a year. That short amount of time. So that's something serious. I hope he takes serious. Only he can do. I know the team can help himself, but he needs to realize how serious that is. So with that being said, Teddy Bridgewater, I have a little experience with Teddy when he was with New Orleans. He's a decent backup quarterback. That's his job. He's a backup quarterback. But I don't think if you don't have enough reps and time, it doesn't matter. I don't think he'll be able to do what Tua can do with those guys, those explosive guys, throw the ball down the field. That's just not his game. So with that being said, I think New England, like you said, they're still playing for a chance to get into the playoffs. Is it in New England? I believe so.
Yeah. It is. So, yeah. But I don't think the weather's going to be that bad, though.
I don't think it's going to be that bad either. But I think New England's defense is going to come out and pretty much hold Miami to under what they've usually been scoring with Tua. I can see, and I know Mac Jones been getting a lot of flack lately. Have you seen? They're talking about all the dirty plays he's been making.
It was a dirty play though when he cut that guy.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of flack for it, deservingly so. But I just think Belichick is going to come out with a good defensive stand and hold Miami. I can see New England winning 24-17.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's a revenge game because Miami beat them the
Mm-hmm.
last 3 times they played actually. So
Mm-hmm.
they have had New England's number, but I think with Teddy Bridgewater, who's not any kind of threat to run out of the pocket, I think that defense will slow down the run game and kind of bracket those receivers. As that's what Belichick does. He takes something away from you that you like to do well and makes you do something that make you uncomfortable. So with that being said, I think Ramondre Stevens will run the ball. Mac Jones will make enough plays. I really think he should be fine for those dirty plays he's been doing. And it's going to come back to harm him. You're a quarterback. You don't make plays like that because they can always come head hunting on you. So he should always think about that because if I was on the other side of the ball, I would just send somebody out there to hit him late. Take the 15 yards. Who cares?
True.
He'll learn how to play football the right way and not take cheap shots because he could have ended that guy's career hitting him low like that. So you don't do that.
Very true.
So I got it. I got it, Ben. And the Dolphins' defense has been up and down. You know, they have a good pass rush, but they don't stop the run, and they don't have corners that are not making plays.
True.
So I'll have it 2013.
Okay.
2013 Patriots. From a fantasy standpoint, Ramondre Stevens. If you got Waddle and you got Tyreek Hill, you have no choice but to start.
I have Waddle. I had to bench him.
Who did you bench him for?
The running back for because I'm on the for Kansas City. McKinney.
Oh, McKinnon.
Yeah, McKinney. He plays wide receiver running back, so I benched him for him.
Oh, so they had him in the flex spot where he can play wide receiver or running back. Okay.
Tight end or running back. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. I mean, that's one of those things that make you scratch your head. Like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And it can come back to haunt you.
Are you in your finals?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in 3 of them.
Okay. I lost.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you how I lost. I lost because of this decision, man. I decided to play. It came down to my wide receivers. I chose Chase over Waddle. And Waddle outplayed Chase this past weekend, and I lost by like 5 points. So that Waddle one I was like, I should have played him, but
But see,
I'm thinking Chase. I'm thinking,
like for you to
he starts shining, with him and Joe, and I'm like,
yeah. But see, you was in a tough situation. It's very rare that you have Chase and Waddle. So that's a tough call. Normally you'll have Chase and maybe a lower receiver.
True.
You won't have Chase and Waddle because those guys went early in the draft.
True.
And it's hard to get both of them unless you on a back turn and you get 2 picks in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the front.
Yeah.
So normally people don't have to make that decision. You put making a tough decision like that, it's going to always come back to haunt you because even if you put Waddle in or you put the other way around, eventually it's going to come back to bite you because the person on the bench is going to score more than the person you put in the game. I had a similar situation, and I was fortunate for it to work my way. I played Chris Godwin instead of playing T. Higgins. T. Higgins went out there and put up 23 points. I still won because my team is built a way to adhere for any kind of drop-offs on your team. But right there, it would have been a complete blowout. And then I had to wait to the end to win that.
Oh, wow.
And this week, I have Devontae Adams. So I'm in a tough situation because they set Derek Carr, they starting Jarrett Stidham, and they playing San Francisco. So it's one of those situations. You sit Devontae Adams for Chris Godwin, or do you play Chris Godwin over Devontae Adams? I don't know. It's tough. And
that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough, right? But even though San Francisco is a tough defense, the Washington Commanders scored 20 points on them last week.
Okay.
So they lost 37-20. Carson Wentz came in and threw a couple touchdowns. So I don't know, though, right?
Okay.
Maybe Jarrett Stidham gets a lucky play and San Francisco's not used to them and they playing in Las Vegas. Maybe coming to Las Vegas, the weather or something like that. I'm nervous about it, though. I'm nervous.
Tampa Bay still playing for the division. Godwin's still their number 1 receiver. It's Tom Brady. That's my decision. So that's my opinion. I would go with Godwin personally.
Yeah, but the last time they played Carolina, the score was 21-3.
Okay.
And Carolina's also playing for the division because if they beat Tampa Bay, they're in first place.
Okay.
So it's tough. The Las Vegas is not playing for anything because there's no way for them to get into the playoffs.
That is true.
I'm gonna have to really think about that.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard to do it, but I think I might do it.
I'd like to know how. Whenever you let me know whenever it happens.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
But I like the advice because I got T. Higgins and I'm gonna play him no matter what. That's Monday night going against Buffalo, so that's gonna be a shootout. So I know he's gonna get his.
He's gonna get his.
But the Devontae Adams thing is so tricky. It's so tricky because that's one of those guys that can go for 40.
Did you see Devontae Adams' interview yesterday?
I saw a little bit of it.
Found out about.
He looked distraught. He looked distraught, didn't he?
Yeah, that scares me. I don't know if his head's gonna be there. You know, that's why I'm wondering.
Yeah, so those are one of those situations where I'm gonna have to reevaluate that. Glad they're not playing Thursday night, and I had to make a quick decision. Glad the game is on Sunday, so I have time.
Okay,
I have time.
Okay.
So the next game is your beloved Saints going against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll let you just go first.
Is it this my Saints versus your Eagles?
Yeah, it is. But I just wanted to say your beloved Saints though, because I don't have any Eagle paraphernalia behind me, but you do. So that's why I said your beloved Saints are going against the Eagles. Like, nobody knows, but you know because I told you, but nobody would have known that I was an Eagles fan. You know?
Okay.
So
okay. Is Hurts playing?
I don't think so.
He's not playing.
And your Saints have an outside chance to win the division as well.
Very slim. I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly do not believe we're gonna make the playoffs. So I'm diehard. I'm from Louisiana. I mean, this is my team, but I just don't feel like they're gonna make the playoffs. But getting back to this game, Minshew, that's the quarterback, right?
Yeah. Gonna Minshew.
Watched him closely versus the Cowboys. He's actually not a bad quarterback.
He's not. He used to be a starter. He was a starter at one time.
I mean, it seemed like they were running plays like, I know that he doesn't have the legs as Hurts, but he was putting up points. He was doing what he was reading his reads. I just don't think the Saints have enough offense to keep up with Philadelphia and that onslaught of a run game that they present every week that I've been seeing. It was news out. Kamara was banged up. I'm not sure if Olave is going to be back or not. He missed last week. They're saying he may play. Our starting cornerback, the guy
Lattimore.
I'm still not sure if he's going to play. We definitely need him. If he's not out there, we're in trouble, especially going up against Smith. Like I said 2 weeks ago, Kamara, that's my guy, but he's been a disappointment for me this year.
Absolutely.
He's just underperformed all year. I don't know what's going on.
The last 3 years, he's been a disappointment, fantasy-wise especially.
And Dalton, Dalton is a backup quarterback in my eyes. They're saying right now it's basically a 6 to 7 point Eagles favorite. I can honestly see the Eagles putting up almost 40 points on us, to be honest with you. I can see them scoring around 37. I can see the Saints scoring around 17 at the most.
Okay.
So that's going to be my score. Fantasy guys, I have Kamara. I'm going to keep riding with him. Have him on my team. So, I mean, I got no choice to play him. I'm going to play him. Smith for the Eagles. Oh, and A.J. Brown. Oh, they're gonna get theirs. They're going to get theirs. Trust me. The running game, Miles Sanders, he's going to get here. He's going to get over 100 yards, I believe. I definitely believe that. So, yeah, those guys will be good for your fantasy team.
I like it, man. I mean, I think this is a game. It's in Philadelphia, so it's a home game. The Eagles need to win this game to secure the number one seed. And to stop the Cowboys from believing that they have a chance to do that. So, you know, the illusion of the things that are unforeseen is the Cowboys in a nutshell. They get excited about things that they shouldn't get excited about because they're great in the regular season, come postseason. That's
what
when
Stephen A. Smith always say, man. Just wait.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
wait. It's coming. It's coming.
Exactly.
It's coming for them.
Yeah. So y'all did a great job last week against the Browns.
I was shocked.
That's because y'all initially came into the game throwing the ball, not realizing that the Browns were one of the bottom teams against the run. And once y'all figured that out, y'all ran the ball consistently, and that's why y'all won the game.
True.
Because y'all came out throwing. As soon as Taysom Hill broke that long run,
True.
I think y'all looked on the sideline like, oh, they can't stop the run. And all of a sudden, Kamara had a big game. Yeah. Taysom Hill had a big game. And y'all stopped Andy Dalton from throwing the ball.
True.
Because when he was throwing the ball, he threw an interception and allowed the Browns to take the lead.
Yeah.
And then the Browns couldn't. Y'all stopped the run because Chubb struggled. And Deshaun Watson is not Deshaun Watson. He needs an off season to get himself together.
It's gonna take him it's gonna take him an off season to get right.
And fantasy wise, like you said, if you got AJ Brown, if you got Devontae Smith, if you got Dallas Goedert, if you got Miles Sanders, those guys are going to be in a great position, and they got to take that sour taste out of their mouth losing that tough game against Dallas last week.
I believe they will.
And I got a 31. I got a 31-17.
Okay.
I still think Kamara, if he can get on the field, will score. And if Chris Olave gets on the field, that gives y'all an opportunity to throw the ball a little bit.
Okay.
We've been struggling in the slot, so if you put Olave in the slot instead of out at the X position, I think he can get open.
Who was
we have a lot of injury.
You guys picked up from us. He was my favorite.
Garner Johnson. Yeah, he's been hurt.
He's still out.
Yeah, he actually had lacerated ribs.
Oh.
So he's been out for 4 weeks. He's been on the IR.
Okay.
So he has an opportunity to come back this week. They haven't said anything about him coming back.
Okay.
But I think they're going to hold him out to the playoffs because he's been been great.
I love him. I absolutely love that guy.
He's been great. And I think he's still on his rookie contract. That's why we grabbed him up. That's why we made the trade for him.
And I was so upset we let him go. I was so upset. That hurt me, man. That hurt me.
Yeah, sneakily, Garner Minshew could have really saved a lot of people if you didn't have a quarterback because he played a very good game last week.
He sure did.
So if you have a quarterback situation where you have maybe Derek Carr, I don't know why you would have Derek Carr, or if you have a situation where your quarterback is not healthy and injured, you lost maybe Kyler Murray or something like that, and you have opportunity and you're hurting, Jalen Hurts is on your team and you don't have a quarterback, go out and get Garner Minshew.
Yeah. Or,
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is out there because he's been balling lately.
He has been.
But sometimes in some leagues, some guys, some managers are not paying attention, and you might can get Trevor Lawrence. Daniel Jones is also an option.
The past 5 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has been probably top 2 hottest quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, they said ever since I think week 10, he's been the best quarterback in the National Football League. Not even fantasy wise, just football in general.
And I believe they're going to beat Tennessee to win that division too.
I do as well. And when I look back at that schedule, I'm like, they lost all these games.
Yeah,
they lost to Houston. I'm like, how do you lose to Houston?
Wow.
They lost all these games early, and I'm like, they would have ran away from the division if he was playing football. And I guess they had to get some cohesiveness because it was a new team, a new coach.
You know who they remind me of? The Bengals from last year.
Oh, yeah.
How slow the Bengals started off last year?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, they went on this run, and they just kept going, and they kept going. And they got to the playoffs, and they kept going all the way to the Super Bowl. Don't be shocked. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with Jacksonville. But don't be shocked if they upset somebody in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Caden, the Colts fan. Am I good starting Schultz or CD tonight? Yeah, I think you are, Caden. I think you can start Schultz and CeeDee Lamb. I think the Cowboys are going to go out there. Tennessee has basically set down their whole team for the most part. A lot of their starters are out. So, yeah, I think Dallas scores quick and early. CeeDee Lamb will get some shine and Schultz will get some shine. I think it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
What are your other options, though? If you have Schultz, what other tight end do you have? You can't possibly have a better tight end than Schultz. Unless you do, then put that up there as well to tell me who would you start instead of those guys.
True. That's true, too. I'm definitely
Because-
starting CD. The way he's
Yeah.
been playing, he's averaging at least 1 or 2 touchdowns the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
And they put him to the slot, which is helping him out a lot.
best thing they could have done with him.
Okay, the next game we have the Indianapolis Colts, who have looked terrible since they signed Jeff Saturday after that one game going against the New York Giants. And I'll give Coach Dable credit because they're working with half a deck. So, and he's been able to squeeze everything out of their team, and they're lacking talent. The defense has been stepping up. Thibodeau has been playing tough. He's been playing hard. He's been getting sacks and playing great football. Indianapolis Colts is going in the wrong direction. Nick Foles disaster the other night, throwing 3 interceptions. I don't understand which way they're going in. I don't see how Jeff Saturday has made a statement to make him a coach for next year. The team, of course, they're playing hard, but they're in dismal. It's a dismal situation. So I don't know how Jim Irsay can come out and say he's definitely in a position to be a head coach. It's confusing. But Jason, you can go ahead and take it. I think this should be quick.
This is very quick. They're currently a 5.5, 6-point favorite at home. I think Barkley's he's still healthy, right?
Yeah, he's still healthy.
He's good. Yeah, they're probably going to pound the rock. This is not going to be a hard game for them. I think this is going to be the Colts. Their offense is just non-existent at this point. I don't know what's going on. Like you said, the hire. I don't believe he should have been the hire. They probably realizing that now. It's too late. You got to start with what you finish. So, but I think the Giants are going to come out and probably put up around 27. I can see the Colts scoring maybe around 13. 27-13 is my score.
Yeah, I like it. I think the Colts have trouble scoring, and the Giants are kind of solidifying that playoff push and making the playoffs when nobody had them doing anything this year. So kudos to Brian Dable for coming in and changing their environment there. You know, after having the coaches that have been there and the Giants been down so far. You know, you got the defensive coordinator calling great games, and Giants just squeezing it out.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask. I'm sorry to cut you off. Do the Giants still have a shot?
Oh, the Giants are in. They're in after they're 8 I think they're 8-6.
So the Commanders are in as well.
Yeah. So right now, every team from the NFC least, what they used to call us, is in the playoffs right now currently.
Wow.
So you have the Giants in 6th place, and you have the Commanders in 7th place right now currently.
Okay.
So the Giants are in the playoffs right now, I believe, and I think they get to 9 wins when nobody thought they was going to win 6.
Wow.
So they're overachieving. From a fantasy standpoint, Saquon Barkley and maybe Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is the top receiver for the Giants. So if you're in a situation where the pickings are low or slim, and you have a situation where you have to get that person in your lineup, Darius Slayton would be somebody that you definitely can put into your lineup.
Okay.
On the other side of the ball, as I said before, you can start the running back for the Colts. He may Zach Moss, he may get some shine and he may score a touchdown because they got to score some way. I know Michael Pittman has been one of the guys that was drafted high, but before the quarterback changes, he has been a disappointment from us fantasy-wise. So if you have Michael Pittman, that's one of those things where, just like Jason was saying with my situation with Devontae Adams, I'm going to sit him for Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
This is a situation with Michael Pittman. You might have to sit him for a better option if you have it.
That's true.
Oh, we have Taz in the building. Taz, mute yourself for right now. How you doing, brother? Glad you could join us.
What's good, people? Sorry for my tardiness.
Life happens, man. You know,
right.
Life happens. So don't worry about it.
I got to show my face tonight in 2 places, and so I had to get myself together.
I understand.
Work, so, yeah.
I understand. So we're gonna bring you in on the next game, man. So
okay.
I got the game, the Giants 24-9. 24-9. Giants winning the game and beating the Colts. The next game on the bracket is one of the top games this week. We got the Carolina Panthers going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Carolina is going to Tampa Bay. This is the game to decide exactly who's going into the playoffs. Because if Carolina wins this game, they're going to be in first place. You would have never thought a team led by Tom Brady would be in this situation at 7-9 in a division that is one of the weakest in the NFL this year. But Tom Brady is starting to show his age. He looks like time has caught up to him. I think the family issues at home and him deciding to come back is really putting a toll on him. And Tampa Bay is a team that can't run the ball. They can't run the ball. They're struggling. They have a lot of injuries on the offensive line. You know, Leonard Fournette looked like he's running in quicksand. And for some reason, Mike Evans can't get open. He's never been a speed guy. And then it seems like him and Brady are not on the right page. On the Carolina side, it's just they're fighting for Steve Wilkes, and they want him to be the coach. So it's a resurgence of Sam Darnold. Who would have ever thought that? He's been playing good football, and believe it or not, they ran the ball down Detroit's throat last week. They ran for 320 yards rushing on Detroit and really derailed Detroit from being in that position to make the playoffs. That was a huge loss for Detroit. Got to be able to stop the run. So, Jason, I'll let you take it. And then Taz, I'll let you take it after Jason.
Division on the line. I despise Tom Brady. But I'm going to tell you this. Tom Brady has won me a couple of my pools this year because I picked him. And it just seems like for some reason, every time it's a chance for him or whoever team he's playing for to do something, he steps up at that critical moment. I absolutely do not believe he's going to lose this game. It's Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I know they've been struggling, but they're at home, and I'm telling you, he's going to get at least one or two calls that go his way, like he normally does at home. He's going to decide this. It's going to the way it happened against the Saints, the pass interference call. I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time, and I believe right now they're a 3-point favorite at home. I'm not betting against him at home, especially when he has something on the line. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I can see them winning 24-20, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and Jason, I agree with you because they got a call against the Falcons as well, and those are the things that are not in the stats or anything like that. You don't have that in the stats. Say how many calls went this way, went that way, but those are the things that change the momentum of the game and change it and it sways it in the favor of the home team. Go ahead, Taz. Welcome to the show.
All right, Taz.
You know what? That I like that. I like Tom Brady. I like Tom Brady, and I see what the Panthers been doing, but I can't go against Tom Brady on something like this. No. When it comes down to putting the chips in the middle of the table, I'm going with Tom on this. And listen here, y'all. I believe Tom. I feel like Tom can still play, right? But that's not a team. The team they have this year is not last year's team.
True.
And if AB right now should be kicking himself and you know what, because he definitely is needed right now for Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? Like I just feel as though they went through some injuries. They don't have the same team. I agree with you when you say Leonard Fournette look like he's running in quicksand. I definitely agree with you 110% on that. But it's just hard for me to go against. And I know you about to say something. Go with your heart. Don't go with your heart. I know. But I gotta go with my heart on this one, man. I gotta go.
Okay. I like everything you guys said, but what I'm going to do, this is the upset of the week. This is the upset of the week.
Okay.
Tampa Bay has won the last 2 weeks on the last drive of the game, right? They're having trouble scoring. And the way that Carolina Panthers are playing, they're surging. Tampa Bay defense has been struggling. Tampa Bay is averaging, I think, like 15 points a game. That's not going to get it done. If Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over They play tough defense, and we have an awakening with the Carolina Panthers coming out of nowhere, and they're playing tough ball for Steve Wilks. And that's what they're going to do it about. Steve Wilks, Sam Darnold hasn't turned the ball over since he took the starting job, and they got rid of Baker Mayfield. Hasn't turned the ball over not one time. He's playing complimentary football. They're running the ball and a play action. The problem with Tampa Bay is they can't run the ball. And Brady is scared to get hit. If you look at it, he won't stay in like he used to and take that hit. Those 45-year bones can't take those hits. That's why you see him. Like a couple of them plays last week, he could have stayed in there and took the hit. He threw the ball and got out of the way of the hit because he don't want to take the hit.
All the time.
They can't run the ball. And when you can't run the ball, you can't run play action. And Brady don't have the line to protect him for him to stand back there and take those deep shots. It's going to be a lot of quick hits to Chris Godwin. But if they can't score the ball and they can't stop the run, which they've been struggling stopping the run, I think Carolina beats them 21-17. And it's not going to be one of those situations where Brady had the ball at the end of the game and comes down the field and they playing this prevent defense to allow him to make the plays. I think they get after him. The defense playing tough. Upset of the week. And we'll talk about it next week when we come back.
Well, I'm hoping you're right.
And Taz, like you and Troy was picking Tom Brady that one week, and I told you y'all was crazy for picking him, and he went in there and got his doors blown off. You remember that?
What team was that against?
What team was that, Taz? You remember that?
It was just the week before last?
It was about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And you and Troy was like, he's not gonna lose. And they got destroyed.
Remember.
I had to look back. I had to look back. Yeah, from a fantasy standpoint, you know, I say DJ Moore, who's been hot since DJ Moore's been hot since Sam Darnold took over the reins. You got Chubbard and you got what's the other guy's name? I can't remember the other guy's name, but both Foreman. You got Chubbard and Foreman, who's been running the ball really, really tough. And Foreman ran for a $150 last week, and Hubbard ran for over 100 yards.
Is that Devontae Freeman?
No, not Devontae Freeman. I think I forgot. It's Foreman. Foreman.
Okay.
Foreman. He's the guy that actually took over the reins when they traded Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
So I think they run the ball really well. I got a 21-17 upset of the week. And if I'm wrong, we can talk about it next week. But I think I'm right on this one. So the next game is the Denver Broncos, who just fired their coach. They looked atrocious against Baker Mayfield and the Rams. You lost 51-14. What I think that was we lost faith in the coach. We're not playing for him no more, so he's going to give up because the defense never looked like that the whole year. They're going against the Chiefs. This is the bad situation after coming off a 51-point game. Go ahead, Chaz. I'll let you go first.
Let me say this. Let me talk about Russell real quick, right? and I was one of them like man, Russ is done. Now I'm still 70% feeling like that, but I said, you know what? Let's give him one more year with a new coach. With a new coach, you know what I'm saying? Let's give him one more year. But right now, I feel as though they just want the season to be over. I got them losing again, but they're gonna lose close. I say 21. No. 21. 21. 10, something like that. 21-10. Not the Broncos. I just feel like they just got too much going on over there right now. Like too much. Yeah, they ready to reset the whole thing and start next year. I think they're gonna be playing. They're gonna put players out there that they ain't seen all year and see what they have and guys on the offensive side and the defensive side. I mean, they ain't playing for nothing. That's all. That's how I feel. I'm so disappointed in them.
Yeah, I got you, man. I know you've been talking bad about Russ all year. But go ahead, Jason. I'll let you go next.
Okay. Currently, Kansas City is a almost a 2-touchdown favorite, 12 points favorite. I'll say this about Russell Wilson. I've been looking at the news every day, the reports about him and his teammates and what's been going on behind closed doors. If you go back and look at the ending his last couple years in Seattle, it was kind of like the same thing. A lot of his teammates didn't get along with him for some reason. We don't know. There's something about him that rubs those men the wrong way. We don't know what it is, but it's something. And if you look at a few games this year, you can see him on the sideline arguing with his teammates. You know, like that's not normal when you're arguing with a defensive player on your same team. You know, he's always been a mobile quarterback, and I feel like he's lost a couple steps. And once he lost that, it's like he's never been that pure passer, that Tom Brady, that Peyton Manning, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was never his game. He was a guy that can make something happen with his legs, get out the pocket and make a big play. So once he lost those steps, it kind of took a lot out of him. Of course, the coach going to get, they're going to put it on the coach. That's why he got fired. I'm not saying he's done, but I'm not saying it's good for him. With this game, Kansas City, they still playing for the number 1 seed? They're at home. I can't see them scoring no less than 30 points at home. Denver defense may try and stop them, but they won't. 31-10 blowout. I think the season is over for Denver. They know it. Everything it's a dumpster fire. It's going to show this weekend.
Well, I think it's the opposite, though. I think because Russ has played so bad, they got to get some cohesiveness, and then go into the offseason with some togetherness to build off of this at the end of the season. What would be a better situation for them to go and beat Kansas City and build on that and go into the offseason, find a coach, and stop all the criticism of Russ? He plays good football. Jerry Jeudy came to his defense.
He did.
Hanlon came to his defense. And what greater situation, because last time they played, it was a close game. And actually, Denver had an opportunity to win. That was one of Russell Wilson's best games of the season.
Right.
I don't think it's going to go that way, but I think they're going to come out and play hard. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Kansas City will win 30-24.
Okay.
It'll be closer than everybody anticipate because they gave up 51 points. But that was a team saying they want to hack it out of there, and that's what I think. That's why they did that.
Okay.
From Russell Wilson's standpoint, I think he's more interested in the entertainment life with Sierra. I think he has taken his eye off of football and thinking about that aspect of his life. Which, if that's what he wanted to do, then don't play football. Don't bring this franchise down, who was only a quarterback away, because they already had the defense and they thought that you was going to come in and propel them to where they think they're supposed to be. And that's not good. So, Russell, if you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Make a decision.
Absolutely.
And Dackett was the wrong coach for him because he's an off-script quarterback. And Dackett is an on-script quarterback because that's when he had Aaron Rodgers. So Dackett, they thought they was getting Aaron Rodgers and ended up with Russell Wilson. It's a bad fit. So I didn't think it was going to be working anyway. I didn't think it was going to look this bad because it looked atrocious, to be honest with you. It looks terrible for him to look just out of sorts like that. When you come back from being in the locker room and being in Seattle, going to 2 Super Bowls, how can you look that drastically different? But it's selfishness. Selfishness is, I think, the problem. But all these people defending him, so I don't know. It's like it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Is he really selfish? These guys are defending him. So what is it? I don't know. But 34-20, and from a fantasy standpoint, you got Patrick Mahomes, of course, Travis Kelce, you got Jerick McKinnon, you got Juju, but Juju has been up and down. But definitely Travis Kelce, Jerick McKinnon,
yes,
and Mahomes. Mahomes is going to overtake you there. On the other side of the ball, Jerry Jeudy has made a great bump up these last couple weeks. He's been catching balls and getting open. This is what the expectations of him when they drafted him in the first round about 3-4 years ago when he wasn't stepping up. Cortland Sutton has came back as well. You got Latavius Murray in the backfield, but I think the Chiefs will stop that. But I really think it's going to be closer than anticipated.
Okay.
So 30-24.
It's Denver, Kansas City. They always play, conference game. You know how that go.
Yeah.
That's a rival game, too.
I'm going to just throw something out here right quick before we move on. Before Sean Payton retired, with the Saints, it was one quarterback that he was trying to go after before he retired.
It was on Patrick Mahomes.
No.
What?
No. He tried to draft Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I'm saying. He tried to draft Patrick Mahomes.
I'm talking about before Sean Payton retired. It was one quarterback he was trying to go after. It was Russell Wilson.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So they just lost their coach. Sean Payton out there. We'll see.
See, I got Sean Payton going to the Chargers.
Okay. He wants
because
to
he said he came on and said he wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. And I know the Chargers made the playoffs, right? And they signed that ticket. But Justin Herbert doesn't look like he's supposed to look. And I think if they put Sean Payton on that team to compete with Sean McVay out there under that spotlight, and he shines, because I think he would unlock Herbert. Herbert would look like Joe Cool if Sean Payton got over there. That's what I truly believe, because he has the weapons.
I like Herbert now.
But they only scored 20 points against the Indianapolis Colts with all his weapons back. That's terrible. That should have been a blowout. And the week before, they ain't scored that much.
That's true.
And if you had Herbert on your fantasy team, he scored 3 points and 4 points. That's not going to get you nowhere. Yeah, it's terrible. So, but you never see Joe Burrow score 3 points or 4 points. No weeks.
Even with 2 picks.
Right. Even without Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So that's just bad business. And I just think, even with him making, if you have opportunity to get Sean Payton, you go for it. I don't think he's going to go out to Denver because it's cold. He said he wanted to be in a warm climate.
What about the Raiders?
They don't have a quarterback. So who are they going to play their quarterback? So that's tough.
Well, they've been linking him and Tom Brady for the past 2 years.
You like Tom Brady in Vegas?
Sean wanted him as well.
Yeah, because they were supposed to link up in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So we'll see, though. It's going to be very interesting on the offseason. Okay. So the next game is the Chicago Bears are going against the Detroit Lions. And Detroit laid an egg last week against Carolina. Hopefully they don't lay an egg again. And I know Taz has been crying and screaming about Detroit for weeks and weeks and weeks. He loves Detroit for some odd reason. I have no reason why. But
they've been playing.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'll let you, Jason, go first. Chicago Bears playing the Detroit Lions. They in Detroit. It's a dome, so that the weather doesn't matter because it's in the dome. So we'll just see.
Detroit 6-point favorites at home, but Tez, you have a right to be, because I've been kind of enjoying watching them play as well, man. They've been balling for real. They've been putting up points. I look up and I'm be looking at the score. I got the Sunday package and I'm looking like, they scored again? What in the world is going on? They got it. They have a great offense when it's clicking. The receiver, I love one of their receivers. I think his name is DJ Chark. I think he went to
DJ Chark, and they got Amon St. Brown.
Yeah, Amon St. Brown. He's a beast. I think this is not an easy. Not a hard pick for me. Chicago, they've up and down year. Yeah, the quarterback, he's had some promising games, but he's still learning. I like my quarterbacks to be pure passers. Justin Fields, I like him, but it's going to take him some time to get there. He'll get there. But I can see Detroit 27-20. I got Detroit.
I like it. Go ahead, Detroit, man. Your turn, Taz.
I got Detroit. I got Detroit. 21-18.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think Chicago defense has has been terrible these last couple weeks. Detroit is a fine-oil machine on the offensive side, especially at home.
Mhm.
And they even implementing James Williams from Alabama, that first-round pick. So their offense is clicking on all cylinders. You got Swift in the backfield, Jamal Williams. So they have a lot of pieces, and they're averaging like 30 points a game, I think, like 28, 27, something like that. Chicago has an exciting quarterback, but he doesn't have any weapons. His line is atrocious as well. So he's just a human highlight reel right now,
Right.
but not a quarterback that can get you wins. So they're looking at next year. So Detroit beats them 27-14. And from a fantasy standpoint, believe it or not, you can start Jared Goff. That's funny to say,
sure
but you can. And then you definitely start Amon St. Brown. DJ Chalk has been getting a lot of shine. You start Jamal Williams, I thought he was leading the league in touchdowns at one point.
He's kind of slowed down the past 2 weeks.
And Swift out of the backfield catching passes, and he's very explosive. On Chicago side, if you got Justin Fields, you start him. And if you're in a position that you have him and you made it to the championships, kudos to you. But you start him. You got Montgomery out of backfield that has been running the ball pretty good. But if you're in a position you have to start those guys, those are two people that I would start. As far as the receivers, I'm not sure. I don't know who's healthy. Claypool hasn't been on the field, so I'm not sure about that. But you do have Cole Kmet at the tight end, who's been one of his go-to guys. So if you're hurting at that tight end position, which is a sketchy position, and if you're hurting at a position, you might can start him. On to the next game. We have the Cleveland Browns. I wish Troy was on here going against Washington.
I sure do too.
Washington Commanders, who, after all the stuff he taught, 0-1-1 against the New York Giants. So pitiful. And look, behold, they're going back to Carson Wentz. So the Heineke machine has stopped, and I don't know what's next for them. You know, if you're going back to Carson Wentz, what's the problem? Go ahead, Jason. I'll let you take it. I sure wish Troy was on here.
I sure do too, because I would be getting in his behind right now.
Yeah.
This is my upset of the week. I'm picking Cleveland.
There you go.
And the reason why I'm going with Cleveland is because of what you just said. Why on earth would you switch quarterbacks like that out of the blue? Is he hurt, Heineken?
No.
I mean, he was playing pretty decent to me.
His record is better than Carson Wentz.
So they want to bring in the Wentz train. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay. And I'm going to tell you something. Cleveland, yeah, they did lose to my Saints last week, but it's just another game for Deshaun Watson to get more reps. And I feel like every game he plays, he's going to get a little better and a little better. He's getting more, cohesiveness with his teammates. And I honestly feel Cleveland's going to upset the Commanders this week. They're currently the Commanders are 2.5-point favorites. But I see Cleveland pulling up the upset 24-20.
I like it.
My upset of the week.
Yeah, go ahead, Taz, because I know you wish Troy was on here as well, so you can talk trash to him. He conveniently excused himself this week.
Yeah.
I like Washington. I like the Commanders.
Okay.
I like the Commanders, and I like a close game, 14-10.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with the Commanders as well. I think Cleveland has trouble stopping the run, and that's why Jason, your Saints was able to win the game last week. But the key element is, I like what you said, Carson Wentz factor. He's going to turn the ball over. So because Carson Wentz is starting, I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go with Cleveland because Carson Wentz is starting. If Tyler Heineke was starting, I would have more faith in that. He used to be with the Eagles, and he turned the ball over a lot. If Cleveland can somehow stop Brian Robinson from running the ball, because Carson Wentz doesn't have a connection with McLaurin. You see, when Carson Wentz was out there, McLaurin doesn't get open. And I don't think Jahan Dotson and the other Samuels can hurt you the way McLaurin can hurt you.
Exactly.
They run the ball with Chubb, and like you said, Deshaun Watson is getting better and better each week. I got it 21-17, Cleveland.
Okay.
From a fantasy standpoint, you start Nick Chubb, you start Amari Cooper, you start Ujoku if you have him at the tight end position. On the other side of the ball, from Washington's standpoint, you start Brian Robinson, you start Jahan Dotson, and if you have McLaurin, I know you're in the tight position. You have to start him, but for some reason, him and Carson Wentz don't have a connection. For some reason. On to your favorite team, Taz, the Jacksonville Jaguars going against the Houston Texans.
Y'all know who I'm going with.
And I don't know if you guys remember, the Jacksonville made a trade early in the season for the top receiver from Atlanta Falcons. So just imagine this offense is looking like it is now. Wait till next year when that guy comes and links up with Trevor Lawrence, when you already have Christian Kirk. So you'll have a true number one. Christian Kirk will be the number two. That offense is going to be dangerous next year.
Yes.
Go ahead, Taz. You the Jacksonville lover, so I'll let you go first, Taz.
I mean, y'all see how they've been playing lately. Y'all see the quarterback. Is they still in playoff contention?
They're in fourth place right now.
They can win the division. Oh, Houston or Jacksonville?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville can win the division next week.
They're in fourth place right now.
Yeah, that's new. That's new for everybody. I'm gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna go 28. 28. 28. 28. 28, 24.
That close? Wow. Okay. On you, Jason.
This one's pretty easy for me. Jacksonville has been on a complete roll. Mr. Sunshine has been on a complete roll. I know before last week, his numbers were like the past 3 games, he had thrown like 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. I don't know what he did last week, but it's probably I think he had a couple more touchdowns in that game last week.
He did.
He has been on a tear. I think that continues against Houston. They know what they're playing for, especially. I don't think that they're going to overlook Houston, even though they know the Tennessee game is the game that they really need. I just think they're going to keep fine-tuning this machine, and I think they're going to roll, man. I think it's going to be 27-10 blowout, complete blowout.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I think Houston is not playing for anything.
Nope.
Houston is in a situation where they're looking at next year draft picks and who they're going to choose and in the playoffs. Me, myself, like you said, Trevor Lawrence has been on the tear. He finally has a coach that understands him, Doug Peterson and him, quarterback coach. I think Calvin Ridley coming into that team next year. Calvin Ridley. I think people forgot about that trade, but Calvin Ridley coming on that team.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley to be the number one and Christian Kirk the number 2 with Zay Jones, as with Travis Etienne out of the backfield, and you got Evan Ingram at the tight end. Just imagine how scary that team offensively is going to be next year.
Wow.
Just imagine. That's like having a number 1 draft pick.
Is he the guy that got suspended?
Got suspended for gambling. He was the number 1 for Atlanta. He was the number 1 receiver for Atlanta. Atlanta got rid of him.
But he was nice. Okay.
Nice. So think about him coming to Jacksonville next year.
Oh, man.
And Christian Kirk sliding to the 2 instead of the 1. And Travis Etienne with a whole year under his belt coming out the backfield. That's going to be crazy. But I'm going Jacksonville as well. I'm going 31-13. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Trevor Lawrence is on the tear. And I think they also beat Tennessee next week and get into the playoffs. And like you said, Jason, I think they're going to be a scary team. I think if they get in that spot, they'll be playing Baltimore. Baltimore already saw that they lost to them. I think it'll be a different game, but I still think, like you said, they'll surprise somebody.
Yes.
From a fantasy standpoint, Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's been on the tear. He's been his number 1 target for the last couple of weeks. He's been averaging 13 points a game. So that's a tight end, and tight end is kind of tight. So you definitely start them. On the other side of the ball, on the other side of the ball, Houston, I don't know. I have no idea. And also start the Jacksonville Jaguars defense for sure.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jaguars defense because Houston is not playing for anything. And last week, they've been averaging 12 points a game. Last week, I think they got 14 points.
Okay.
The next game, the 49ers going against the Las Vegas Raiders, who just benched Derek Carr. They're going to be starting Derek Stidham. You saw Devontae Adams' interview. He looked distraught. I don't even know if he's going to suit up. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with them? You got Josh Mick. I don't want to call him. I was calling him Josh McIdiot. Josh Mick, I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know why teams give him an opportunity over and over again when you saw that he has no clue. They done lost at least 5 one-score games and lost in the last drive. It's like they play the first half and give up on the second half. Like they don't show up. So I have no idea what they're doing. And the 49ers is playing tough ball.
They're on the tear.
They're playing physical football. Brock Purdy is not making mistakes. And Debo may practice this week. So I think next week they'll be fully solidified on the opposite side of the ball. But for them, they're walking infirmary because it's like every time you think they're healthy, somebody gets hurt. Every single time. So I call them the walking infirmary, but they're playing great football right now. So go ahead, Jason, I'll let you take.
Going back to Josh McDaniels, I put him in the same category as I do my head coach from the Saints, Dennis Allen. Great offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, just not a head coach. You see what he did when was he in Denver?
Yeah, he was in Denver, and he drafted Tebow. Tebow in the first round when he was the third round talent.
That was him. That's him. You know, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, I don't think it would be a Josh McDaniels, to be honest with you, man. Seriously. I think that's why his name gets thrown out there because of Tom Brady. But he is, like you said, terrible. He is not a great head coach. I do not understand the move, why they bench Carr. It may have come from higher ups from what I've been reading. I think they want to trade him. That's why they benching him, because they have a clause to where he'll get paid an extra $40 million if he gets hurt within his past 2 games.
I think that's why they said that's why they
sitting him down.
Yeah.
So they've just, to me, that said they've given up on the season, even though they weren't technically eliminated, but they're saying they're eliminated. They're giving up on the season. San Francisco's defense has been amazing this year. Bosa, those guys, I mean, they put a hurting on. When I watched them play my Saints, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, you got to be kidding me. We got into the red zone, I want to say 5 times, man. We scored 0 points. I said, you got to be kidding me, man. This is unreal. This is going to be a beatdown, man. The spread is about 9.5, 10 points. I can see San Francisco putting up 30. I can see the Raiders maybe getting 10 if they're lucky. 10 if they're lucky. With Jared Stidham, I mean, you're throwing him out there like, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
What is he going to do, man?
So if you had Josh Jacobs, would you play him?
Yes.
You would? So
yes.
Yeah, so I have Josh Jacobs. I have Josh.
They're going to run.
But are they going to be able to stop the run? Are they going to be able to run, though?
He's been running all year.
You know he only had like 40 yards last week against the Steelers. It's tough.
And this San Francisco defense,
Yeah, it's a tough call.
Like you say, it depends who you have behind him.
Yeah.
is either him or who?
Yeah, I'm in a situation like that. I'm gonna tell you who I put in, because I'm in that situation where I had Josh Jacobs.
If you tell me somebody else, and I'm gonna be like, okay.
So let me tell you who I put in. Give me a second. So I got Ramondre Stevenson or J.K. Dobbins to put in.
Stevenson from New England.
Yeah, Stevenson from New England, and I got J.K. Dobbins.
Okay. Ooh. I might go with the boy from New England.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I don't Josh Jacobs, because I already got Eckler. I'm gonna play Eckler. I got Eckler, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, and Jacobs. So I got all 5 of them. So I'm playing Eckler for sure, and I'm gonna play James Conner for sure. But I was not thinking about Jacobs, but with Stidham starting, man, I don't know. They probably put people in the line, dare him to throw the ball, and probably stop Jacobs and force him to throw the ball. and they don't get interceptions.
Yeah. I think I might go with Stevenson.
Yeah. Go ahead, Taz. It's on you.
Y'all funny. Y'all know the 49ers gonna whip that tail, man. Come on, man. They're gonna whip that tail. They playing good right now. It's just the question we need to ask: which way are they gonna whip it? They're gonna put it. They're gonna ground and pound. They're gonna put it in the air. I'm gonna give it 28 10 49ers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 34-13 49ers. I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers. Jared Stidham going to turn the ball over. They're going to put them under extreme pressure. They'll get 49ers to let loose or hold back probably the third or fourth quarter, and they'll get a touchdown and the field goal late. But it's just going to be probably a shutout at halftime, and they just want to keep putting the pressure. One thing about San Francisco, unlike Green Bay, if they got you down, they're going to keep you down. They're going to put their foot on your neck. Green Bay allow you to get back in the game and have to hope for Aaron Rodgers to bring them out of it. And a lot of teams do that. I don't understand that. If you have a guy down, beat them down. So I got 34-13. You start. Kittle's has been Brock Purdy's main target. Kittle scored 2 touchdowns last week, and the week before he scored 1 touchdown. So if you have Kittle, you start him. Brandon Ayuk is the only receiver that's really healthy over there. So you start him. And then, of course, Christian McCaffrey, who's a do-it-all running back, who's been really playing good football. Definitely. And also, if you got San Francisco defense, you start them.
Definitely.
So you're in a great position.
Definitely.
The next game is the New York Jets against the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith has been struggling lately. I think they lost 3 straight. The New York Jets has been struggling as well. So this is one of those games where both of these teams are 7-8, I believe. And this is really going to knock one or the other out of the playoffs. The Jets are going to Seattle. That experiment with Zach Wilson, I believe, is over. I think they're going to start Mike White. So this is a pivotal game for the Jets. You can take it away, Jason.
It's tough playing in that 12-man stadium. They got the home game, late game. But believe it or not, they're predicting the Jets they're the favorites for some reason. I don't believe that.
Defense.
They're about a 2-point favorite. Yeah, you're right because of their defense. You're right. The quarterback for Seattle, he has been in a little funk lately. The running back Walker, I think he was a little banged up 2 games ago, but he played last week. I think they're gonna get back to that running that ball with him. Playing at home and in front of that crowd with something to play for on the line, I think Seattle shows up. I think they put the Jets out of their misery. I think Geno's going to be okay. He's going to do enough. I can see them putting up around 24-20. I got
I think it's going to be a tough game as well. I think the insertion of Mike White that can spread the ball around and make the Jets more than a one-dimensional team. You have Garrett Wilson out there, Elijah Moore. You have Bam Knight in the backfield. And you just have weapons. But that defense has been stout, playing great football. Zach Wilson was just putting them in terrible positions, turning the ball over. With Mike White back, I think Geno playing bad football. I think he'll be pressured. And Kenneth Walker is back. They said they're trying to slow down his reps because he had an ankle injury. That's his first 100-yard game in like 4 weeks last week.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Lockett is out. So I think that's really hindering them because that was that 1-2 punch with DK Metcalf.
Okay.
Tyler Lockett hurt his finger. He had surgery on his finger, so I don't think he's going to be available for this week. I got the Jets winning. The same score you said, 24-20, the Jets. And I think the Jets are going to make a push to try to get that last playoff push because it's going to come down to these last 2 weeks. I think the Seahawks had a good season, and now it's unraveling, but they're in a great position. They played really good, have draft picks off the Russell Wilson trade, and I think they're going to be in good position. From a fantasy standpoint, you definitely start Kenneth Walker, but I'm in a position where I picked up Cam Akers, right? And I have Kenneth Walker. Do you start Cam Akers, who's getting all the carries, all the best offensive weapon for the Rams, or you start Kenneth Walker?
I have Kenneth Walker as well, and I'm playing him.
You playing him?
Yeah.
Who are your other options? I think I might go with Cam Akers myself. against the Chargers' terrible run defense. They just got a good defense, so I don't know how that's going to go. So these are the championship decisions you got to make when you're
That's true, man. You like that fantasy football. I just like the way he's been playing all year, Kenneth Walker. I mean, this is rookie year, correct?
Yeah, his rookie year.
He's been playing pretty well.
And he runs the ball hard, but I think that Jets defense is stout up front.
Okay, but I just think that when you're at home, you just play different, man. You just feed off that energy, and I think they're gonna come out and run that rock. And I just think he's gonna have a great game. I can see him scoring. I know I can see him scoring at least one touchdown in this game.
Okay, so you have no Cam Akers went out there and went berserk, and that's the only offensive weapon they have.
That's the Rams, right?
Yeah, the Rams. And Chargers are the worst run defense in the league. One of.
That's a tough one. I mean, you're gonna have to make that decision, man. That's my decision. That's who I want.
Yeah.
We'll
So
we'll have to talk about that next week and see how.
And it's gonna come down to the wire. Those are the tough positions. I'm in 3 championships, so I got to make tough decisions.
Okay.
I picked up Cam Akers. He was available, so I said, you know what? Just make it difficult on myself by picking up Cam Akers, and I got to figure out who I'm going to start.
Yeah, I put Walker over Williams from Detroit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a no-brainer.
Okay.
That's a no-brainer. So I'm in a position. I got Nick Chubb, James Conner, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders, and Cam Akers. So it's one of those situations where you have more than you need.
Okay.
And that always puts you in a position where you got to make decisions.
Yep.
So it's tough. I got Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin, Cam Akers, or Kenneth Walker. Tough decisions, man. But this is going to make or break me to the championship.
True.
So the next game is the Minnesota Vikings against the Surgeon Packers.
You know, I say every week when I go into these football pools, man, I look at the schedule, I look at the teams, and I say, you know, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 upsets, no matter what, every week. Maybe that's been how I've won a few. This is one of my upsets this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I couldn't believe it, but Green Bay is actually a 3.5-point favorite.
They're at home.
I was like, wow, really? What did they know that we don't know? You know, I thought everybody was going to be on the Minnesota train, but
Detroit beat them handedly, and then they struggled against the Giants that are one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And it came down to that guy kicking that 61-yard field goal to win that game.
True. That's true. But with Aaron Rodgers, I put him in the same category as Tom Brady. You just can never count him out. No matter how bad he may have been playing all season, he is one of those quarterbacks that, even though when he gets to the playoffs, that's a different story. But
Once he gets to the playoffs,
regular season Aaron Rodgers, you know, I honestly feel like he's one of the greatest to ever do it in the regular season. And I just feel like they're gonna upset Minnesota this week. I can see that happening. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, my boy Jettis, I love him. Justin Jefferson. They're gonna do their thing. They're gonna put up points. But I just have this feeling, man. It's gonna come down to the last drive of the game, and I can see Green Bay winning by a field goal. 27-24. Give me Green Bay. My upset. My second upset.
And I'm with you right there. I think Green Bay shortens the game by running the ball with A.J. Dillon for your fantasy team. That's going to get you your points you need to propel you. Yep. And for some reason, Aaron Rodgers has cohesiveness with Watson and Dobbs, you know, and they're finding a way to win. Even though last week Tua threw the ball right to them. So that was easy for them to catch that ball. You know, he just threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Like, who does that?
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota defense has been shredded. They couldn't stop a one-dimensional Giants team. How are they going to stop Green Bay, who's surging? And, of course, you have Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson. You got Dalvin Cook in the backfield, Adam Thielen, T.J. Hockenson. You got all these players. But on the other side of the ball, defensively, who have they stopped?
None.
And I got it just like you got it. I got it, 24-21.
Okay.
Coming down to a field goal. In some way, somehow, Aaron Rodgers is making enough plays to win the game.
Yep.
And once again, Kirk Cousins doesn't come to bat. And if they lose this game, I think San Francisco overtakes them for the second place in the division. And Minnesota falls down to 3.
Wow.
And I think that's what Dallas doesn't want. Dallas don't want them to be the second seed. They would prefer Minnesota to be the second seed.
Okay.
And I think if San Francisco wins, they overtake them.
Okay.
Because they'll have the same amount of wins. And I don't think Minnesota want to fall down in the rankings.
Okay. Sounds good.
Now we have the Los Angeles Rams going against the Los Angeles Chargers. LA going against LA.
LA versus LA.
And this is what I was saying about Cam Akers going against this defense. It's hard for me to put Cam Akers in over Kenneth Walker. So that's a decision I'm going to make Sunday at 12 noon.
Okay.
It would be helpful because Kenneth Walker banged up. If he don't play, it'll be easy decision.
That'd be easy choice. Yep. Exactly. Oh man, didn't the Rams put up like 51 points or something last week?
Against Denver? They was quitting on that. They was quitting on that coach last week, so we'll see.
Baker. Okay, Baker, I see you. No, man. Chargers, man. Hold on, let me see what the spread is on this game. Chargers favored by 6.5. Man, this is. I don't see the Chargers losing this game.
No, I don't see him.
Keenan Allen's been playing well. I saw him.
Oh yeah,
watching the game. He's been coming on lately. Mike Williams, he's back healthy, right?
Yeah, he's back healthy.
Eckler, man, he's another reason why I lost my semifinal game. He is one amazing running back. He does it all. He is,
man. He does it all.
Man, he does it all. Yeah, I think the Chargers are going to put them away easily. Even though the Chargers haven't been scoring as many points as I think they should have been scoring in the past few weeks.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But they know what they're playing for. I can see them putting up 27. I can see the Rams. They may get a few lucky plays here and there. 27-20. Give me the
like it. I think the Chargers already clinched their spot to the playoffs, so they're really not. They're only playing for seeding at this point.
Okay.
But the Chargers only scored 20 points against Indianapolis. I got them winning the game.
But not as much.
But not by much because they can't score. For some reason, with all those weapons, with Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
Unbelievable.
Keenan Allen had 11 catches for like 120 yards last week.
Wow.
Off of 14 targets.
Wow.
But it seems like they can't get in the end zone. And I don't know why. I have no idea. I mean, Justin Herbert hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks. And he's supposed to be a top-tier quarterback. How you don't throw it? Every quarterback throws at least one touchdown a week.
True.
And he hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks.
True.
I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan at all. But they have been playing tough football.
True.
And I don't want to start Cam Akers over Kenneth Walker. But because the Chargers run defense is so bad, that's a decision I'm going to have to make. Okay. But I got the Chargers winning 2017.
Okay.
A low game because the Chargers can't score, and the Rams only scored 51 because the team gave up last week.
Okay.
From a fantasy standpoint, Keenan Allen has been a monster since he got back healthy.
Monster.
I wouldn't say start Justin Herbert because he averaging 3.5 points. So if you got him, you probably not in the championship anyway, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
And Cam Akers, he's been the only weapon for the Rams. I don't know if I'm starting him, but if you have him, start him. If you don't have a better option. And on the Rams side of the ball, I think Digby has been playing pretty good with Baker. Mm-hmm. And I think Jefferson is the other receiver over there that probably could possibly help you. Now, Sunday Night Football. We got Pittsburgh Steelers going against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are finding some way to win the games. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're having trouble scoring as well. So
is Lamar still out?
Still out.
Okay.
Tyler Huntley.
And they're still a 2.5 3-point favorite.
Because Kenny Pickett is a rookie, I think.
That's true. When it's games like this, I just go with the team with the best defense, with the better defense. I'm picking the Ravens at home. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I just don't see no offense. Baltimore's offense has been non-existent ever, since Lamar's been out.
True.
Kenny Pickens, I mean, he's a rookie. What do you expect out of a rookie? He's going to have a couple good games. He's going to have a couple bad games. Not many weapons out there for either team. Pretty boring game, if you ask me. But I do see the Ravens getting away with the victory, 17-13.
Yeah, it's a divisional game.
Right.
Kenny Pickett has been playing good football since the injury, since the concussion protocol injury. He was out for 2 weeks.
True.
That big win against the Raiders last week when he made that pass to Pickens for the touchdown, and they beat the Raiders. I think that actually gave him a lot of confidence.
Okay.
And amazingly enough, Pittsburgh do have weapons. Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Pickens on the outside. You got Fairmouth at the tight end. So they have more weapons than the Ravens.
Okay.
And defensive-wise, I think Pittsburgh defense is a little bit better than Baltimore defense right now.
Okay.
I think Baltimore is hurting on the back end, and Fitzpatrick is having a resurgence on Pittsburgh's side on the front end, on the back end, making big plays. The plays he made last week, I think he had 2 interceptions and making plays all over the field. You got TJ Watt coming off the end, and they've been stopping the run. Najee Harris has been running the ball pretty well. It's hard for me to pick the Steelers over the Ravens. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because Baltimore is struggling to score. I think they're averaging like 12 points a game since Lamar's been out.
Wow.
I think Pittsburgh does enough to win the game, 16-14. 16-14.
Nice pick.
16-14. And I think you start Pickens, you start J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, yeah.
You start Mark Andrews. I think it's another running back for the Ravens. Edwards.
Edwards. Okay.
Gus Edwards. Edwards. I think Gus Edwards had I think he had 11 carries for 99 yards last week. So Gus Edwards. And on Pittsburgh side, you start Deontay Johnson, you start Pickens, you start Najee Harris.
Yeah.
The last game of the week, Monday Night Football.
Probably the game of the week.
Game of the week. You got the Buffalo Bills going to Cincinnati. You have all types of scenarios here. Cincinnati's on a 7-game winning streak. Buffalo has been up and down, but they're in first place in the AFC. If they falter, Kansas City can overtake them. So this is one of those games that feels like a playoff atmosphere in a playoff game. It's in Cincinnati, though. We all know Joe is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. For some reason, they have that number.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how this transpires on Monday Night Football, the game of the week. So go ahead, Jason. I'm going to end it. You can go ahead.
Well, this is my guy, Joe Cool. Joe Burrow, LSU, Listen, this is gonna be a fun game. This is gonna be a high scoring game, I believe, in my opinion. I know Cincinnati. I believe they've only lost 1 game at home this year, if I'm correct. And I want to say
the Ravens, right?
Yeah, I want to say 1 game. So they're pretty good at home. This is the time of the year where Joe Burrow locks in. I think like I said, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think he's going to get all of his wide receivers involved this week. I think this is going to be Chase. You're going to see Mark my words, Jamar Chase. I can see close to 150 this week. I'm gonna put some money on that one. Jamar Chase coming out this week because he had that fumble last week, and I know it ate him up. Believe it or not, man, they got Buffalo favored by 1 point.
Because I don't know why. I think, with them home, usually you get at least 3 points at home.
Yeah, they're thinking
Josh Allen effect.
Him running, him passing, Diggs. The only thing that scares me about Cincinnati is the turnover. Sometimes Joe Burrow, he'll have them games where he'll throw 1 or 2 picks. Then he'll have them games where he'll throw 3-4 touchdowns.
Yeah, because last week they were up 22-0.
Yeah,
and he threw the picks in the second half and got them back in the game.
Yeah, and they were able to hold them all. High scoring game for me. 34-31 Bengals.
Yeah. So I like everything you're saying. Now look at it from this standpoint. Who has more weapons? Right? If you noticed last week when they played Chicago, they shut Diggs down. And they struggled for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden exploded in the fourth quarter when Chicago turned the ball over and had some short fields. If you look at Buffalo, they're not good at running the ball. So because they don't run the ball, and they was only able to run the ball last week because they played Chicago. Okay. When they played top teams, they wasn't that. Singletary has been non-existent. James Cook has been non-existent. Gabe Davis is one of those guys like Casper the Ghost. Sometimes you see him, sometimes you don't. Okay. And he's playing almost every down. So on the other side, though, you got Chase, you got Boyd, you got Higgins, you got Mixon in the backfield, and maybe I think Hurst is coming. I think Hurst is coming back this week.
Oh man, okay.
He did lose Lyle Collins, which is a big injury for him.
That's huge.
Cincinnati has too many weapons. There's no way Buffalo can stop all those guys. If Joe Cool was able to spread the ball around, and for some reason that Cincinnati no-name defense plays good football, because you don't know any of their names, but they play good defense.
Yeah.
If they're able to stop Diggs and force him to throw to McKenzie and Gabe Davis, I think Cincinnati gets him.
All right.
Goes on an 8-game win streak, and Buffalo falls to that number 2 seed. Kansas City overjumps them.
Okay.
And if Buffalo's not careful, Cincinnati will be the number 2 seed, and they'll be the number 3 seed. Because Cincinnati has 11 wins right now. True. Buffalo only has 12. If they lose, both of them will be 12-4.
True.
So you're in a situation where it comes down to tiebreakers, and then Cincinnati had a tiebreaker. Really, they had a tiebreaker over Kansas City and Buffalo. Head-to-head matchup.
Yep.
I don't think Kansas City going to lose again. So that if they win this week, they'll win the next 2 weeks. If Buffalo falters this week, Kansas City takes the number 1 seed. And if Buffalo's not careful,
they could beat it.
Yeah, they'll be the number 3 seed.
Wow. Okay.
In 2 weeks, a 2-week swing. It's a possibility. Ooh. So I got Cincinnati winning as well. 37-31.
Okay.
Fantasy wise.
Oh,
this
man,
is a bump. And on my side, I have Joe Burrow, I have T. Higgins, and I have the kicker for Buffalo. So hopefully, come Monday night, I'm only down maybe 5 or 10 points, and I just walk away with the championship. That's what I want to happen. Nice. I don't want to be a situation where I need 50 points or 60 points or something like that. Even though I know Joe Cool, T. Higgins, and the defense may can get it, but I don't want to be in that position.
Okay.
If you fantasy-wise, Joe Cool for sure, Josh Allen for sure, Stephon Diggs for sure, T. Higgins for sure, Jamar Chase for sure.
Sure.
You have Joe Mixon for sure. Defensive-wise, don't start neither one of these defenses unless you're crazy. Unless you're crazy. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So you heard Jason's upset of the week. You heard mine's. So hold us accountable next week if these things don't come to fruition.
Sounds good.
Because you heard us make them, and we pride ourselves on giving you guys the upsets of the week from our perspective, fantasy information to help you. This is the last week for fantasy. Hopefully, you guys took great notes and you're able to set your lineups and win that championship. Because I'm going to tell you, if I come back, I don't win none, I'll tell you if I win 0. If I win 3, I'm going to come back and tell you that as well. I'm in 3 championships, and hopefully I can win all 3.
Good luck.
You as well. So
Good luck, man.
We'll be back next week, same time, 7:30 on Thursday nights. Appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. As always, we're here to make you smarter. We're here to talk about football and to give you fantasy advice. Have a good weekend. Happy New Year to everybody. God bless. Peace out.
Peace out.
Relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. While I take totes, relax and take notes. While I take totes of the marijuana smoke, relax and take notes. While I